What's up, everyone? Taiki here from my tiny hotel room in Singapore and this janky setup. But as some of you may know, I've been traveling to Singapore for Token 2049 week. I landed here Saturday, and right now it's Friday night. And this morning, I had the pleasure of finally meeting Vitalik for the first time alongside, from left to right, Shuyao from Mega ETH, Jeff from Hyperliquid, Vitalik, obviously, this guy here, right? Kane from Synthetics Infinex, Guy Young from Athena, and then Stani Kulichov from Aave. So I know what you're thinking, like, what the fuck is happening here, right? Jez, right, my friend, he kind of posted this meme, like this, this is like the definition of fake it till you make it. It's like I don't know how I got invited to this thing, but I just want to talk over, I guess, the takeaways from this event the past 6 to 7 days, and how everything is doing, and some takeaways or certain things I've learned. So the reason I'm in Singapore is because for Token 2049, I did this live Steady Lads podcast. So Steady Lads is a podcast I've been doing for over a year. Check it out if you haven't. I think we're doing okay. We had Chow Wing as a guest, and we had fun. Hopefully this goes live in the next couple of days so people can watch it. Basically, just ETH bag holder therapy session, right? It's just like ETH holders watching Vitalik sing and knowing it's all over, and Messi's crying. And Chow was saying that, ETH, it's an end of an era, right? Like Messi, he's old, end of an era. It's all an end of an era. And by the way, Token 2049, like 20,000 attendees, like we don't even have that many daily active users in crypto, right? Like who are these people? Even like 90 to 95% of the sponsors of this event, I've never heard of in my life. If every attendee bought like $100 worth of Ethereum, then like we would be pumping. But anyways, like I said, ETH bag holder therapy session. So it's gonna talk about how this happened. So, obviously ETH has been underperforming. The narrative has been not that great. And when we had Kane on Steady Lads, a couple weeks ago, he kind of, this timestamp here, right? Is Ethereum good? Why stick with Ethereum? Vitalik's level control, ETH Foundation, etc. ETH is money. He kind of fired some shots, right? Heard around the world, and it kind of just started this discussion around, Vitalik not liking DeFi. So Millie here watched this recent Steady Lads episode and said that I had no idea that Vitalik and the EF dislike DeFi. I don't really think they dislike DeFi. I think their point is, look, I can't really speak for himself, right? I'm just playing telephone here. But my understanding is that, DeFi, the majority of the primitives for DeFi has been built, and DeFi is good. But in order to onboard the next millions and billions of users, we have to build more things. So it's not that he doesn't like DeFi, it's more so that we should be focusing on other things. And I definitely agree, right? So he's more talking about, he wants to see new applications. But of course, the counter argument to Vitalik's point is, ETH has a lot of value because of DeFi. That's clear. It's being used as collateral. It's the base pair for all liquidity pools, and people hold ETH, right, in their wallets for gas. Without DeFi, there would be much less demand for ETH, and we would be trading much lower. I guess certain examples of things you want to see is like, DEX is great. Decentralized stablecoins like RAI is great. No one uses it, but ideally it's great. Polymarket is great. And then he kind of talks about this, and I think he also talked about this concept of the Ouroboros, where Mr. Strobe here, or Strobe, said this miscommunication. Maybe Vitalik thinks that DeFi, quote unquote DeFi, is just like Ponzi's. So obviously a bunch of Ponzi's blew up last cycle, but maybe he's grouping them all together, and he's ignoring things like Uniswap and Aave, etc. My understanding is that look, this didn't come directly from his mouth, right? So I'm just kind of improvising here. Not improvising, but, playing a game of telephone. Vitalik's a fan of Uniswap and things like Maker, but other stuff he's like, about. And, obviously I love Aave, right? I'm a bull Aave. I'm even wearing a Go sock, right? Look at that, right? I'm not sure if that showed, but maybe you saw my hairy leg. But, he said that, where does the yield come from? It comes from borrowers trading fees. this worries me because it feels like an Ouroboros, and if you know the Ouroboros, it's the snake eating itself because it's so hungry, and then it's eating itself, and then it dies because it's eating itself, right? The value of the crypto tokens is that you can use them to earn yield, which is paid for by people trading crypto tokens. So how do you earn stablecoin yield on Ethereum? It's because people are borrowing dollars to speculate on other things. Obviously, right, DeFi, it's creating a market, right? There's demand to borrow, so there are lenders. That's a market, right? That's product market fit. But he's saying that, it's DeFi activity is dependent on the value of ETH, but he wants other things built on ETH that doesn't exist. Such like Polymarket, right? I think Polymarket has great product market fit and whatnot. And he thinks that while DeFi is great, it's fundamentally capped, and can't be the thing that brings crypto to another 10 to 100x adoption burst, which I don't disagree with. I agree with this point. My viewpoint has been that I think most of the primitives in DeFi has already been built. I don't think we need to like no one cares, right? Like if you create a new AMM that's slightly better than Uniswap, like no one really gives a shit. If you build a new lending market that's slightly better than Aave, like why would I use you, right? Like I'm not going to use you. So he just thinks that things have been built. Let's try to experiment more on things. But obviously there's a lack of empathy here, right? And maybe some forms of miscommunication because we all love DeFi. Chances are you watch this channel. I'm like a DeFi person, so maybe there's right now you're feeling some emotional reactions towards Vitalik's point, and that's also kind of what I think the builders feel. Even Kane, for example, right? I mean, no matter what your opinion is of synthetics, you have to respect the fact that he did an ICO, right? Back 2 cycles ago, it went down like 99%. People thought it was dead, and then he built his way out of it. He found product market fit last cycle, and the token just pumped a lot, right? You have to respect anyone that stuck around during the bear, kept building, especially 2 cycles ago, right, in the bear market, and then eventually had the fruits of his labor, rewarded essentially. You have to respect someone like that, and even him. I asked him this morning, like, how many times have you met Vitalik? And he said that this was his 5th time, which is kind of crazy, right? I mean, you think about it. Like, this guy's been building on ETH for, let's say, 7-8 years, and he's only met Vitalik 5 times. If you're building a project on Solana, chances are, Raj and Anatoly, probably, you can meet with them anytime, right? Probably more than 5 times in the past, let's say 7 months. Of course, from the ETH Foundation's perspective and Vitalik's perspective, they need to not have a bias, right? They can't just be supporting one project over another because then there's bias, decentralization, etc., yada, yada, yada. But I think there's a frustration amongst the DeFi builder community of when it comes to the lack of support. That's one of the things that we talked about here. Even this meeting, right? It's like, look, I'm not even a builder, right? Actually, I mean, I do think of myself as a builder in the sense that I'm building something, right? But I'm not creating applications. In fact, maybe I'm an educator, and maybe that is more important in some sense, because if you build something and no one knows about it, then did you really build something? But anyways, King was, we were saying, hey, I know this is only an hour or 2 of your time, but it really means a lot, right? That we're here, we're talking about things. It feels like we're getting some attention, some acknowledgement, and I think Stani kind of posted this thing here, where please DeFi pill him. He is pilled. I think he's always been DeFi pilled, but I think it's more so the fact that he wants to see new things built, which I don't disagree with. But maybe the ETH Foundation and Vitalik can also provide more support for DeFi in terms of directing more attention towards it, even vocally saying that DeFi is good. I think that's definitely going to help sentiment. And as a person that's been calling for a DeFi renaissance, the return of DeFi, I guess one of the reasons I believe that, right? I've been talking about Aave for 2 months now, is I think the majority of the people in crypto have been super jaded by the space, because I mean, Bitcoin's doing well, ETH is doing okay, Solana is doing really well. But if you didn't really hold Bitcoin, Solana, or memes, you know, it's really hard, right? Like even I'll admit it's been hard. You know, like I spend my time, I spend my life like researching things, and you know, it's like, you know, I have not outperformed Bitcoin, right? It's been really hard. And the narrative has been, you know, all this thing is a scam, right? All these things are a scam. It's gonna go to zero. Like, let's just buy meme coins and just like, you know, just make a bunch of money. Like, you know, we need to provide, we need to generate exit liquidity for our bags. So, you know, let's show every single day. I mean, look, and you know, it's you know, anyone can do what they want, right? But if you're like a builder, right? If you're like an OG builder, you're like fundamentalist, right? Quote unquote fundamentalist, and you're like buying like, you know, fundamental bags, and then, you know, meme coin dudes are saying, you know, like, fuck you, I'm rich, you're poor, then, you know, it doesn't feel that great. And then everyone's like, yeah, I mean, maybe it is all a scam, and, you know, I should not be doing this, and you know, maybe I should pivot to AI or something, right? That's kind of been the sentiment. I think, you know, Vitalik feels that too. You know, it's all the speculation. I mean, you know, it's fine, but like, what are we really building towards? Honestly, I don't really think that there was like any alpha or like any takeaways from here. I mean, yeah, like it was nice to, you know, actually like talk to him. You know, he seems like a really nice guy. You know, he's really down to earth. You know, I don't really think he has an ego. You know, I really respect him. I think everyone respects him. I think he's like a really easy target, right? It's like, you know, Vitalik is singing on stage, so cringe, right? That's why ETH is going down, right? Vitalik has a girlfriend, right? Or alleged. I mean, I don't even know if he has a girlfriend, right? But there's like a photo of Vitalik and a girl, and it's like, oh, he has a girlfriend. It's bearish. But like, you know, I mean, you know, he deserves to live a good life, right? I mean, he built it, like ETH, right? I mean, you know, he's definitely done more for the world than any of us have, honestly. So he's an easy target. I don't really think we should be hating Vitalik. But yeah, I think that was really cool. And so I'll wrap up that conversation there, you know, so just so you have some context. And I do want to talk about, I guess, like gratitude, right? Because, you know, I think I hit like 100,000 subs here. Let me pull up this link. I hit like 100,000 subs. When did I forget, right? 2 months ago or something. And I didn't really make like a thank you video, because I mean, I didn't really know what to say. I made a thank you post on Twitter, but like not really on YouTube. So I figured I'll talk about it here, because I also held like a meetup event. Actually, let me pull that up. And it was really cool. So let me kind of scroll down here. I held a meetup event for Steady Lads. Yeah, right here. I mean, I didn't really know what to expect, but I think 300 to 400 people came, and it was crazy. And the reason being, when I make these videos, right, like right here, like the last 28 days, I had like 31,000 views. Cool. Cool. Yeah. I don't really know what this means, right? Like, is it actually 31,000 people? Or is it like, you know, yeah, like, I have no idea what that means. And it's really hard for me to, you know, think about what that actually means. I don't really visualize it, but I guess, you know, if you like 31,000 people, if you just put them in front of me, it's like, wow, that's a lot of people. And at this meetup event, I had a lot of people just come up to me and say, yeah, like, you know, thank you for your content. You got me into crypto, yada, yada, yada. You know, some people said like I changed their life and whatnot. And I didn't even know like I had that sort of impact. Like, even like someone gave me a gift, like of like dried meat or something. I'm gonna eat that when I get back home and whatnot. And I guess, like, you know, you know, if it weren't for you guys, right, and coming to these things, I wouldn't even have, you know, the opportunity to like be a part of this. So I just wanted to take a moment to like thank you guys. You know, it's hard to build videos or create videos sometimes, because, you know, I also feel jaded sometimes. It's, you know, I make videos, like, you know, I get some views, but you know, then I just go on with my life, you know, and like nothing like really changes. But to meet people in real life that said that I have a positive impact on their life, that really means a lot to me. And, you know, even I met a bunch of fund managers, like respectable fund managers, right? Like, not some like random VC that I've never heard of, but like actual funds that, you know, I know, right, they have like, a bunch of money, like 9 to like 10 figures AUM, say, hey, we watch your videos and whatnot. It really does give me, I guess, like confidence, because even here, right, it's like, Taiki is a part of this hangout, right? It's like, who is this guy? I Even at Token 2049, I felt a lot of imposter syndrome, because before our talk, or before our live episode, Steady Lads, I went into like the speaker's booth, and I was hopefully you can see this, but I was holding this my speaker my speaker panel or speaker badge on, right, and it literally says Taiki Maeda, Humble Farmer Army, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, this is so unserious. Like, why did I call myself? Why did I call my why did I call my company Humble Farmer Army? This is ridiculous. And I was talking to Nick Carter, right, who never heard of me. And then he was looking down at my name tag. I bet he was thinking like, Humble Farmer Army, like this guy's a scammer. I'm pretty sure that's what he was thinking. And then I had this around my neck, and when I noticed him like looking at my tag, I quickly just turned it around. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, thank you, right? Thank you for everyone's support. And I guess like not even for me, but if you have someone that you appreciate, it doesn't have to be me, right? It can be like some other person in crypto, or like your family member or your friend. You should probably tell them, right? It really does mean a lot. And these things give me more motivation to continue providing good content, right? Or at least like the best content that I can make, because like obviously I'm not gonna get everything right. It's impossible. It's the markets. But what I can promise is that I'll have good intentions. Like I don't run ads. I don't have sponsors and whatnot. I try to just keep it me. And sometimes me is stupid, and I talk about like bad coins and they go down and I look bad. But that's the name of the game. So thank you, right? Thank you for everyone, for your support. Without you guys, I would not even have this opportunity. And yeah, just thank you. But then I'll wrap it up there. But I'm not sure how long this video is. Actually, let me check. What is this? 17. Okay, so if you watched 17 minutes of me rambling, I guess I'll talk about some takeaways from Token 2049. So I will say that the event itself is like whatever, right? Like the token event, 90% of the sponsors, like these boots, I've never heard of, right? Probably, I don't know what they're exactly doing. The talks are really, really good, but they're recorded, so you can watch it online. I think there's like a 2-week lag. It takes them like 2 weeks to post it and whatnot. So I forget how much tickets are, but I think it's more for side events, and I still have side events that I haven't gone to, right? I still will be around for the next 2 days, but I guess I had the opportunity to be invited to a bunch of, I guess, private dinners along with fund managers, right? So not like VCs. There's a lot of the one thing I realized, that there's so many like liquid funds out there, and even VCs have a liquid book. I think people have this conception that like if you're not retail, you're like just a VC, but that's not true, right? There's so many fund managers, and they're constantly looking for any sort of edge. And talking to these people, right, they're all smart, right? Probably smarter than me. It really made me think to myself, like, what really is my edge, right? Like, I mean, you scroll Twitter, like if you're scrolling Twitter and you're just like looking for narratives that people are shilling, then like what really is your edge? Like, do you really think that you can just scroll Twitter, get tickers, and like buy it and like make money? Like, come on, right? Like it's not that easy. It takes a lot of work. In fact, there are lots of Asian firms, American firms, with strong teams, and their job, right? They spend 40 to 80 hours a week looking for alpha. Unfortunately, I don't really think there's that much alpha in the markets right now. But if everyone is working their asses off, and if everyone is very competent, right? They're from TradFi, they're successful traders, etc. Then I really should limit the amount of things I look at and just really hone in on what I think I'm good at and like what edge that I have. And it's like AI is like a hot topic, for example, but like, what do I know about AI coins, right? I mean, nothing. So like, why should I be touching AI coins, right? People ask me about AI coins. I'm like, dude, I'm not, like, look at me, right? Like, I should not, you should not be asking me for AI coins. And it made me think that, okay, like, I think I'm really good at DeFi, right? Given all the all the work I've done in the past 4 years, I think I have the ability to, you know, if I want to be connected to a team, I can probably get connected and get like, quick answers, right, faster than others. I think that's like my quote unquote unfair advantage, right, or edge, right? There's a book called Unfair Advantage that I think is pretty interesting. So I think my content is mostly going to just be focused on DeFi and like some podcasts here and there. Yeah, so I think, like, I mean, that was like my takeaway, right? Like, everyone is working their asses off. So if I'm not working my ass off, then how can I expect to outperform? And that should apply to you too, right? Everyone thinks that they're working hard, right? Because everyone thinks highly of themselves. But are you really working hard, right? Because by definition, in order to outperform, you need to outwork the average person in crypto, right? But if the average person in crypto is working pretty decently hard, then you have to be working really, really hard if you really want to find, or if you really expect outperformance. And I can't expect myself to outperform if I'm focusing on too many things at once. So I should just focus on DeFi. And speaking of DeFi, obviously, people come up to me. So this is a funny thing, right? I mentioned this in the Study Labs panel or live podcast too, but all these fund managers that I respect, like, I've talked to like over a dozen, which is like a small sample size, like over a dozen firms, and like I said, small sample size, but I think it can be somewhat extrapolated, given how people think in the space. But like over half of them, they're like bullish Aave and Solana, right? It seems pretty consensus at this point that Aave and Solana are good, right? They're good coins, and obviously, let's look at the chart of Aave. It's going up, right? Like, why is it going up? It's because people are buying it, and people are buying it in size, right? All these funds are buying it. So, of course, I do think Aave is going to go higher, right? If you're curious about my thesis, right, 2 months ago I posted a video. I think it's pretty thorough, but I feel like the majority of the easy money has already been made, and look, in the medium to longer term, right, I think Aave is going to go much higher. But in the short term, maybe a lot of the money that would have already bought Aave perhaps already bought it. That was kind of like one of the things I've noticed. And also, Solana. I mean, I have nothing in Solana, right? I missed out on Solana. That's a fact. But like, everyone's bullish Solana, right? Like, everyone is super bullish Solana. If you go to Twitter, it's like, oh my god, Token 2049 was janky, but Breakpoint, great event, right? I love Solana. That was kind of like the vibe I got. And with crypto, it feels psychologically good if other people own your bags, because it means other people agree with you, and people are social creatures, and you want people to agree with you. So it's like, oh, like, you like Aave, that guy likes Aave must be good, right? And then you buy. But obviously, people only like it after they buy. So you have to think about like who's gonna buy after you. The good thing about Aave and Solana is that they're fundamentally very strong. They're growing. So if DeFi TVL goes up to next, then Aave will benefit, right? If 10 times more users come to crypto, they're gonna go. A good chunk of them will go to Solana, and they're gonna benefit. But if you still believe that we are in a really PvP market, maybe we're getting out of that with like the 50 basis point rate cut. And I also think that the election, no matter what the outcome is going to be incrementally bullish for the market, because it gets rid of uncertainty. Of course, depending on who wins, the severity, or not severity, the magnitude of the pump, I think, will be different for certain sectors and certain coins. But I think whoever wins, I think the net outcome is going to be bullish, and we're going to trend higher into end of year. That's kind of like my personal view at this point, because market doesn't like uncertainty. Everyone is very uncertain about what Trump or Kamala will do, right? Whoever wins. But I don't really think it matters too much. I just think that particular uncertainty is getting people skittish. But once that event passes, then I think there's less things to worry about. And people disagree with me, right? People are people in crypto are like, they're biased towards like pro-Trump. So, it gets a lot of disagreement, but that's kind of like, the takeaways from being on the floor, I suppose, right? Everyone likes Aave Solana. Everyone hates ETH and Celestia because of the unlocks, and everyone like wants Trump to win, right? That's basically like, what everyone's been talking about. That's not really anything new, right? You just go on Twitter, everyone says the same thing. It's basically like what's happening here. No one likes Uniswap though, right? Which is good, right? For my sake, like I said, I have no idea if Uniswap is going to go up, but I do have a big position, and in a way, right? And I guess this kind of talks, hopefully this is like my growth as an investor over the past couple of years, but I think the old me, right, like a few years ago, right, if I owned hypothetically like Aave and Uni, and then everyone's saying Aave is good, Uni is bad, then maybe I'll become even more bullish Aave and like more bearish Uni, for example, because other people agree and disagree with me. But this time around, it's like, okay, people agree with me for Aave. That's kind of concerning, right? Like everyone likes Aave. Who's left to buy? No one likes Uni. Okay, like that's good, right? That means everyone's considering Uni, but they decided that they don't like it. So if it actually is bullish, then people are gonna buy it, right? So like these people are my exit liquidity. Let's go, right? I was like super hyped. Of course, just because I'm contrarian doesn't mean that I'm right, right? By definition, if you're contrarian, then chances are you're probably wrong. I'm not saying that Aave is gonna dump and Uni's gonna pump. Like I'm not really saying that, but that's kind of some of the takeaways that I thought. It seems like a lot of, these like fund managers, VCs, like traders, they're all really, really smart. They are putting in the work, right? And putting in the work, and that's why you need to put in the work. But like I said, people in crypto, they're really social creatures. They rely on Twitter a lot for narratives, and like no one really knows what they're doing. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, right? Like even this video, I literally just pulled up my OBS, my janky mic, and I just started talking, right? This video is like 30 minutes long, and I'm probably rambling. It's like, you're probably like, please, like, it's like stop, right? But I don't even know how to end this video, I'm not gonna say buy my bags, right? Maybe to actually, here's how I end this video. There's 20,000 attendees for Token 2049. Like why are you spending so much money on these tickets? You should be buying ETH, right? You should be buying ETH. Please, ETH BTC is so low. Please do it for us, right? Don't buy event tickets. Buy ETH. Otherwise, we're not gonna make it. But we all want to make it, right? WAG me. All right, thanks guys. I'll wrap it up there. Bye bye.